have a panel discussion now. This is on making power utilities efficient and resilient, flexible power generation opportunities. And for that, I would like to call on stage Bibhu Bhuyan, Managing Director, Assam Power Generation Corporation. Engineer Sanjiv Kumar Katiyar, Managing Director, Chhattisgarh State Power Generation Company. Pankaj Tagalpallewar, Additional Director General, Maharashtra Energy Development Agency, MEDA. Indu Maheshwari, Principal Director, National Power Training Institute, Western Region, Nagpur. Dr. Dhananjay Sawalkar, Director Fuel, Maharashtra State Power Generation Corporation. Abhay Harne, Director Projects, Maharashtra State Power Generation Company. Mohit Alamchandani, Services Engineering Leader, Steam Power, GE Vernova. And Engineer Mohit Gupta, Deputy Chief Engineer, NRSE, Punjab State Power Corporation. On request to all the panelists, we are running behind schedule. So I would request each panelist to be very brief and succinct on the answers. Okay, so the topic is making power utilities efficient and resilient. And when we are talking about flexibility in power generation utilities, what sort of opportunities they present, and whenever we talk of opportunities, challenges are concurrent. So we'd like to briefly discuss those also. I'll start with you, Bibhu Bhuyan. In the morning session, you talked about Assam is a relatively smaller state. The amount of power generation you mentioned is relatively smaller. But on the other hand, you mentioned one important thing, the efficiency. On the efficiency quotient, it is very high. So briefly, I would like to understand from you, from a power generation perspective, what are those efficiency measures or efficiency quotients that you are looking at?
Thank you. Efficiency, whenever generally our power engineers think of, they only think of efficiency in terms of machine. But then man behind machine is also very important. So man, machine and your finance, whatever money is there, whether you have deployed your finance in a most efficient way. Generally, we state Zencos, we ignore the other tools because this manpower, we think this is already given to us. We cannot do anything. Second, resource. There was a situation when it was almost unlimited kind of resource for state Gencos because we are part of the government. So that situation was there. And the machine. Now the efficiency part, why it is becoming more important, the flexibility, what just before that, whatever we were talking, in fact, morning also I told, the flexibility means what? When renewable power is there, at that point of time, what are we going to do with our huge thermal load? That thermal load has to be ramped up and ramped down. As and when renewable sources are going up, then we have to ramp down, and when it goes down, we have to ramp up our operation.
Okay.
This ramp up and down operation creates inefficiency. That inefficiency, how it can be managed, that has to be debated in the organization, in different forum, and we have to find out the best solution. Solutions are already there, but it may be very costly, it may be very short-sighted. Today you do, after 4 years it become inefficient or it is not viable. So all kind of things has to be thought. So that's how efficiency has to be thought of. And we in APGCL, we have done certain things in those lines only. But fact remains, we are being a small organization, it is easier. But a massive organization like Mahazenko, as the name says Maha, your problems are also Maha. So solution to it has to be thought of, well thought of, and I'm sure there are sufficient expertise here in this organization or your future organization. Another point I mentioned in the morning, knowledge management. Knowledge management is very poor in our organizations. The person goes away, the knowledge is also goes with him. The how to keep this knowledge, that creates efficiency. Otherwise, again you have to reinvent the wheel again and again.
True.
So we all, whoever operate thermal plants, they know whenever the old hands goes away, how difficult it becomes.
Okay.
So all those things makes efficiency into picture. Thank you.
So, if I may sum up two very important things you mentioned. One, when the ramping up and ramping down is happening according to resource availability, that inherently creates inefficiency, and how do you tackle that is one major challenge. And the other thing is you need to create a knowledge repository in the organization so that the same thing is not duplicated again and again, and that obviously otherwise creates inefficiency. Great, sir. Sanjiv Kumar Katiyar, I will come to you next. Again, in the context of what you said in the morning, you mentioned that even, say, almost 50 years hence in 2070 also, we will have a coexistence of traditional power as well as a renewable. Maybe obviously the proportion or ratio will not be so lopsided like now, but more an equitable proportion. My question is, as we are moving towards having this balance between traditional and renewable power resources, how do you keep the organization, the generation companies efficient? Because that's a big part of the challenge otherwise, if inefficiency creeps in. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so that is a big challenge to keep a balance. The grid stability is the major. It is a matter. When the renewable power is available in surplus, too much, that we are seeing that a massive growth plan is there, 500 gigawatt by 2032. So at present, the challenge is not too much, but day by day, the challenge will challenge us. And we have to meet that. Our maximum thermal units are up, designed for not for this ramp up, ramp down. And the percentage of ramping up and ramping down required to meet that challenge, we need extra support in way of some software, in way of some modification in the existing plant. Because when we have a ramp up, ramp down over and above the design rate for which the machine is designed, it is bound to go through the various stresses. Boiler failure, tube failure may be there. In turbine, there may be sudden change in temperature, expansion, vibration. There are so many issues. For even in flexi operation, only a few units of NTPC or some state may have done it. On experiment basis, practical have been done, and the result has been shared with all concerned to gear up to meet the challenge.
Okay.
I think we can easily meet the challenge by installing pump storage, where flexibility is too much, and a synchronous motor that can on a variable speed, variable power, suddenly you can ramp up, ramp down at any rate. So that, in my view, the pump storage appears to be a very good solution for this renewable energy and thermal balance. In thermal, we have limitation. We cannot go beyond a limit.
Exactly.
But in pump storage, from 0 to 100.
Okay.
So, in my view, that will support our system. It will have a grid stability also, and we can stabilize our thermal sets also. This is my view. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So you are advocating for pump storage to ensure efficiency, especially on the thermal capacity. Great, sir. I'll come. Next, we'll come to Pankaj Tagalpallewar from a MEDA perspective, and where we are talking about the renewable resources. Right now, the ratio might be lower, but obviously it's what expected to grow. So, and we know on the sustainability front, obviously that's the road ahead. But beyond the sustainability, from the efficiency point of view, and if we talk about efficiency point of view, how are the renewable resources already becoming effectively, and how further do you expect their better leverage to happen in the future?
Good afternoon. When we talk about the efficiency and renewable energy, so MEDA, Maharashtra Energy Development Agency, is SNA for MNRE, for renewable energy in Maharashtra, and we are SDA, state designated agency for energy efficiency and energy conservation in Maharashtra. So basically our efforts are in aligned with that purpose only. The initiatives that are being taken by MEDA for energy efficiency and renewable energy. So first is we are doing PM Kusum B scheme, in which we have installed 106,000 off-grid solar pumps in Maharashtra. Maharashtra is the top state in India in installation of Kusum B pumps.
Great.
Second, we have declared green hydrogen policy for Maharashtra, in which we have taken the target of 500 KTPA up to 2030. So again, for green hydrogen policy, Maharashtra is the first state who have declared green hydrogen policy, and we are forerunners in that. We are trying for domestic consumption plus export potential in green hydrogen. And accordingly, for green hydrogen, the RE capacity that will be required, that is being assessed.
Maybe a round of applause for some achievements, both on the green hydrogen and the solar pumps front. MEDA. Okay. Yes, sir. Continue.
Third, I will mention that energy conservation and energy efficiency. So recently, State Energy Efficiency Index, we got second award in India, received from Honorable President of India for State Energy Efficiency Index. So for energy efficiency, we are doing some projects. We are doing demo projects in government buildings, government schools, hospitals. We are demonstrating the energy saving potential by retrofitting by energy efficient equipments, and we want to replicate those projects by other government buildings. Again, PAT scheme is there by Bureau of Energy Efficiency, perform, achieve and trade scheme, in which e-certs are to be earned by designated consumers. Like RPO mechanism is there for RPO, the same manner this e-certs mechanism is there. The PAT scheme is getting very good response, and we are achieving very good energy efficiency and energy saving results in PAT scheme. We are doing some demo projects for efficiency. I will just mention some of the projects which we are doing, and I will sum up. One project is, we are doing one project in Lakshmi Narayan Institute of Technology at Nagpur, in which we will be circulating nanofluids in backside of the solar panel.
Okay.
And that nanofluids will pass to the coolant, so that temperature of the solar panel is reduced and efficiency of the solar will be increased. So we will be assessing how much CUF enhancement is there by this project. Second project is we are doing green hydrogen manufacturing production in Rahuri Krishi Vidyapit. Third, we are doing smart charging station, smart EV charging station in Pune. The charging station will be interacting with the grid. So as per availability of the grid, it will interact. The smart charging station. And fourth is repowering of windmills with IIT Mumbai. As windmills after 20 years, 14 years, so if their age is over, so we can install new windmill with higher capacity. So we are doing study for that because evacuation capacity is already available. Then all infrastructure is there, land is there. So repowering of windmills is one of the. So these are the initiatives being taken.
Thank you. So, very interesting. And what you mentioned, some of these projects definitely can be replicated in other states because renewable energy will be very specific to geography and climatic conditions in different states, depending on like wind. The southern states, Tamil Nadu, and have been traditionally stronger in. So different states have different geographical climatic conditions which affect them. So some of the examples that you mentioned, even the Nagpur institution with whom you have collaborated for those solar panels, those sort of things these are the best practices that can be replicated by the other similar your peer agencies in other states, and that's where the national success ultimately will happen. And you mentioned about once EV becomes mainstream, one of the reasons which is holding back EV are the charging stations. The lack of charging stations, especially in urban areas. And in Pune, you mentioned the smart charging, EV charging stations. So those are again critical aspects, and thanks for highlighting them. Great. Next, I'll come to you, Indu Maheshwari. We heard, in fact, one of our panelists, Bibhu Bhuyan, talked about the knowledge repository and how important it is to have in an organization so that the knowledge doesn't pass away with one employee leaving the organization. So one is a knowledge repository, and then a lot of these new gen technologies and things, they are very dynamic. So the learning has to be very dynamic. So from a National Power Training Institute perspective, how are you looking at providing these new gen trainings and creating a sort of knowledge repository for the entire power sector?
Thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers, APAC and Mahagenco, for giving me this opportunity. Sir, these are times of decarbonization, decentralization, and digitalization. So, the entire industry, where the entire energy industry is under transition, and we are in a time where convergence is the key. So, we are all learning from one sector to another. I represent the power sector, and NPTI is under Ministry of Power, Government of India, and we have been doing training for last 50 years. So these are transitory times for us as well, because traditionally we were thermal power plant teachers, and now we are gradually diverting ourselves into cyber security for power sector. So like you mentioned, how are you coping up as a knowledge management? So we are now conducting training in the new regime for energy transition under various programs. And to maintain continuity, we have also started publishing certain these kinds of training manuals, materials which can be used by the power sector. We also conduct training online to meet these obligations because a lot of people are not available. We are doing training under simulator program. We have established these multifunction simulators, 210, 500, 800, hydro, smart grid all in one at 4 of our locations, Nagpur, Shivpuri, Alipi, Faridabad and Durgapur, 5 locations. So as to carry on this message that if once a plant is 210, 500 now, maybe into 660, 800 in the same space, we offer this training in our single simulator. So we are trying to manage this, and of course it is a challenging time for us as well, because the client is asking for training on energy storage, the client is asking for training on flexible operation. So I have read a USAID article in which says now we should call not operators, it should be flaxperts, flexibilization experts. So the basic challenge is dealing with the human mind, I feel. And a lot of power station operators and technicians who come to us, they say how we can do this. So I think managing the mind is a more important challenge. and we are geared up to do it that also. That way also.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you. And interesting to know about these 5 simulation, training by simulation you are providing from the 5 centers, and they are, if I believe, spread across Nagpur West, Shivpur in the north, Alleppey in the south, Durgapur in the east, and you mentioned Faridabad in the north. Okay. So, great. Our next speaker will be Dr. Dhananjay Sawalkar, Director Fuel, Maharashtra State Power Generation Corporation. And many speakers emphasize since morning that yes, renewable resources will increase, but the traditional thermal power is not just going away immediately. So, from a Maharashtra perspective, I'd like to understand, and from this traditional power perspective, how will you assess the impact of the coal inventory that has been set up? That is one. And you have partnered with a number of coal fields also. So, Mahanadi coal fields, I think Singareli collieries. So, what are the dynamics of these partnerships, and how would you assess the impact of the thermal coal inventory?
Thank you. As a part of fuel management team, last year in year 23-24, with the effort of our whole team, we have received almost 51 million ton of coal, which is a historic one. And we try to ensure that whatever the normative guidelines which is given by the CEA for the coal stock, so we see that we remain in that normative coal stock position, and we will not go down to the critical or the supercritical, even though there are some incidences happen. In last September also we gone down up to 4 lakh ton. But now we have explored almost all the ways or the modes, just like the RSR, the RCR, even the import, the transport, even the pipe conveyor and ropeways. And our ultimate aim is that there should not be a single unit of generation loss because of the non-supply of the coal. And we see this whole coal management regarding that. Also, we have to do a lot of balancing act when it comes to the not only the quantity, but the coal quality and the coal cost.
True.
And for that, nowadays, the most nearest partner is the WCL, but they have their policy of cost plus coal, and that is why when it comes to the landed cost, we are preparing the coal of MCL and even ACCL and what you mentioned, the Singarani, and even for the better coal mix or the quality, predominantly the MCL and ACCL coal is better than the WCL, and that is why we see that we will get the coal from these other coal fields also. One thing which I wanted to mention over here, that we have received one captive mine at Gare Palma. Unfortunately, last 7-8 years we are trying on that, but we couldn't work on that. But now we are in such a stage wherein that next year the production will start and we will get our own coal. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So, give a very good perspective on that. Whatever we say, the contribution of the thermal resources to the overall power generation is still not going anywhere, and we have to look at effective and more efficient way of using that, even as we balance between the traditional and renewable resources for energy. Our next speaker is Abhay Harne, Director Projects, Maharashtra State Power. So, sir, I'd like to put the question. We are hearing many speakers emphasizing balancing between the thermal and renewable. So, from your organization perspective, how are you leveraging the new age technologies, if we may say, to achieve this balance, and through any key projects that you would like to highlight that?
Yeah. as a Mahagenco, basically 75% energy what we are producing is from thermal. We have 13.5 gigawatt company, and by 2030 our target is to have a 25 gigawatt company, out of which as of now only 428 megawatt is of renewable power, which we will increase up to 8,000 megawatt.
Okay.
The main challenges what we will face here to complete this project at the earliest, as rightly said by our Honorable CMD, whatever you want to do in this RE field, if you want to install solar, hydrogen, green ammonia, PSP, battery storage, this should be planned and implemented within next 3 years. At least planning and tendering should be done. Then and then only we will be able to complete this project by 2030. I am very happy to say that near about 2,100 megawatt tender are already published. Near about 600 megawatt of solar order is already been given. We have been partnering with some of the PSUs and Maharatna companies like NTPC. We are going to install 2,500 megawatt. We have formed a JV company, and we will have 2,500 of ground mounted solar in Maharashtra. This will be in collaboration with NTPC.
Okay.
Also, we have signed a JV agreement with SJVN, which is the leading company and expertise in the PSPs. Happy to say that the policy of state government, they have given a right to first refusal to Mahagenco. We have selected 3,400 megawatt of sites already located, Varasgaon and Panchet at Pune, where we are going to install 1,200 and 1,600 megawatt PSPs there. Also, we are adding 125 megawatt unit at Ghatgar. Apart from that, Mahagenco is having experience to run this PSP from 2007. We are already running 2 units of 125 megawatt at Ghatgar. So, along with SJVN, 3,400 of PSP, then 1,600 will be my solar and floating solar. So, 5,000 megawatt I will be adding through JV of this SJVN. Apart from this, as rightly said, that Government of India and Government of Maharashtra have published the hydrogen policy. And according to that, if we put up a plant of 50 KTPA plus to the tune of the capacity, then we will get a status of anchoring unit, and we will get 30% of subsidy. Near about 8,400 crores has been spared in this budget of Maharashtra to promote this green hydrogen. In this week only, Tagalpallewar sir, we are going to register this 50 KTPA next week with MEDA. And I don't think nobody still date have come up with such kind of plant. So it is a unique plant. It will be located near Uran, near Panvel. JNPT is just 1.5 kilometer away from that. And we are being very much sensitive. Who will take this offtake, this green ammonia? Because in the market, the gray ammonia is available between $2 to $3, and this will be $4 plus. So we have partnered and taken the offtake of HPCL. HPCL is the refinery situated nearby Chembur, and they will take this all offtake from this my Uran plant, where my land is available, the connectivity is available. I can spare some of my solar units to cater this hydrogen plant, because we want their RTC, RE power to be available there only. So this is what we have planned right now. Also, we have signing an agreements of with Tehri also, THDC, then RAC, then Power Grid, and we are also signing a largest floating solar in Maharashtra at Lower Vardha. Already the bathymetric survey and the DPR is being ready. And my partner, I think SJVN is also here. And very happy to see that last year they got SJVN got a recognition of a Maharatna company. So I think with the same line, someone had said all Mahas are here. So Mahagenco is on the track to have more and more integrated all kind of RE sources to be added in this Maharashtra grid. Apart from that, we are coming up with a battery energy storage system, and for which very soon we will be floating EOIs. We will have a PPP mode also, and for EPC mode also. So round the clock power. That is our main motto.
Okay.
When our CMD joins, I think 2 years back, on the day one, he told that you should come forward and sell your power outside the Maharashtra Discom. Because up till that point, 2 months back, 100% of what we generate, we are selling it to only one consumer. But we came forward, and now I'm selling power in the market. I'm selling power in the exchange. I'm selling power 2 months back. I have an agreement with the renowned institute, Serum Institute of Pune. We are selling power to them also. So very soon, the power in power trading also, and in RTC RE power, we will play a major role with the help of these PSPs, BESS, and with the hydrogen.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for highlighting all the details, Abhay, Harne. I'll come next to you, Mohit Gupta. From the perspective of Punjab, in these terms of power generation, the efficiency, what briefly you would highlight as measures that need to be taken to ensure better efficiency?
Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, I am basically looking after the NRSE power, RE power for Punjab. Punjab is basically has an installed capacity of 6,200 megawatts for RE power, out of which around 3,000 megawatt is solar and wind power, and around 3,300 megawatts is the hydro power. Further, Punjab has already tied up 5,000 megawatt of RE power, out of which 4,300 megawatt is solar and rest is the hydro and wind power. Further, in Punjab, we are setting rooftop solar plants on government buildings, and an EOI has also been floated in Punjab for acquisition of land, because in Punjab, basically land is very much costly, being the agriculture state. For setting of solar power plants, the power developers don't get the land. That's why we have floated an EOI. Further, Punjab is also floating tenders for getting renewable power. Almost 1,500 megawatts of power is being procured through the tendering system. And further, through SECI, we have already floated a tender for 3,000 megawatt power through RERTC power.
Okay.
And for the last 2 years, in 22, 23 and 23, 23 and 24, we were positive in our RP obligation also. We were positive around 1,800 million units both the years. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So now, Mohit Alamchandani, I'll come to you. Because I was coming to you last, you heard most of the generation companies, both traditional power and thermal renewable power. They mentioned different dynamics, initiatives undertaken. Now, from an industry perspective, when we are talking about this flexibility in power generation, very briefly, if you can highlight the main opportunities and what you heard from them, what are the challenges and how would you mitigate those challenges?
Thank you. So in brief, if I talk about flexibilization, today we are talking based on the guidelines which are available from CEA. Say example, 40% of minimum technical load and ramp up from 1% to 3% towards the base load. So I would like to iterate from the perspective of industry as G Vernova, we have solutions despite of various challenges for each of the unit. We have solutions where we can even talk about achieving minimum technical load to 30% or 25% and ramps to achieve what was designed. and we can improve them further, say to 5% if we go for R&M. These have been the specifications where GE Vernova specifically is ready to deliver on the specifications. Coming to further on flexibilization, we also have solutions which can take care of the startups. Two-shift operations has been in discussions, which is not yet very much talked about in India, but this is something has been implemented outside of India into Europe and Americas. We have solutions across that where the flexibilization, through this the flexibilization can be typically looked at very differently. So I would say renewable penetration is important, and including flexibilization or upgrades and implementing the right solutions into the thermal power plants goes hand in hand to meet the country's target.
Okay, thank you. So I'll do the last round and 1 minute to each panelist. Please restrict yourself to 1 minute. A little bit of crystal ball gazing for each one of you. Starting with you, Bibhu Bhuyan. Going ahead, for the relatively smaller states and located in the remote areas, what are going to be the key challenges ahead from a power generation perspective?
When we talk about crystal gazing, a small state or small GENCOs has to do it constantly, because when we were in a planning stage, at that point of time, this renewable power from across the country, whatever transmission charges were made zero. So there was a question raised by some people. They said, why in Assam we should generate green energy or even power, when in Ladakh we can get it at 28% efficiency, I think 28. In Rajasthan, efficiency is much more. And whereas we have got hardly 18 to 20% CUF. So when we are doing this planning at planning stage, then we came out, the Assam is connected by chicken neck. You see, it is, we as engineers always used to think in terms of technical part of it, but it is not about technicality. You have to also think of geopolitical situation, your financial modeling, everything has to be taken care of to arrive at a decision. Chicken neck was there, I'm talking about 3 years back. Chicken neck, I told, through this chicken lock of 18 kilometers, we can hardly pass few transmission lines. What will happen if you do not have in this region energy independency? Then what will happen? So those kind of energy independency, there people say, no, we have got sufficient energy, we can get it from grid. And just few days back, you see what happened in Bangladesh. Now our chicken neck is in threat. We cannot send it to Bangladesh. From Bangladesh, we cannot gas for our Tripura plants. So all those things can happen. So crystal gazing is always important for small states like this. But at the same time, it is not only about small state, also for organization like Maharashtra, Mahazenko. I can put a threat. You see, doctors, when you go to a doctor will first do your diagnosis and they will tell you, you have got 20% blockage. You have got a cyst here. So if you don't do this, you will have this. So this threat has to be understood. So that threat, if you do not understand, then there will be a problem. The threat for Maharashtra, as I can see from outside, is your GDP itself. Your GDP is dependent on export. Your GDP is in manufacturing. Your customers are industry. These customers will become out of business if you cannot give affordable power. This export will, all your what you call NPTI and all your ports will become idle if you cannot give shipping the right kind of power, what you call green ammonia or whatever, green hydrogen. Because already European has taken a decision. So by such and such date, they will not take any item which is not shipped by green mechanism, green transportation. If green transportation is not available in your port, automatically your export will go down.
Okay.
You have got 1100 engineering colleges. So also you require employment for those engineers who will be coming out every year. And while it is very good, you are doing what you call JVs with all the national organization. But for Zencos, I feel we should have our own capacity, especially state Zencos. State Zencos have their own capacity. They should leverage on their local consumers, local availability, and local strength.
Okay.
Thank you.
So primarily, state GenCos should have individual capacity depending on local geopolitical situations. Great to know that. Sanjiv Kumar Katiyar, very briefly, you have predicted the future. I am again harping back. So main challenge, very briefly in 1 minute, what you can mention.
Yeah. The main challenge is that I see is the grid stability. The transmission of power, installation of green corridor, that is a very big challenge because the green power, renewable power, that we are installing very massive growth, but rather we are compatible that we can transfer this power to the needy that industry or where it is required, because solar power is in 4-5 states there are massive growth and the remaining they are just struggling to get it. Moreover, the act is coming that even RGO obligation for us for the thermal for 6% of their installed capacity, and from 26 it will become, I think, act. So if you can install renewable, if you fail to install that RGO obligation, then you have to purchase the renew power in that. So I see the grid stability as a big challenge. Okay. In the morning, evening hours, even today we are struggling. And no doubt the regional power committee, they are having very tight control over the frequency variations and have a grid discipline so far. But this challenge will become more and more and more.
So grid stability and green power are the mantras that you are professing. Pankaj, I'll come to you next. What even he mentioned about the green power and the renewable energy resource. The future, one major challenge that you, in 1 minute.
Yeah, I will keep it short. I think the major challenge in energy transition is when you shift from the firm power, which is thermal power, 24-hour power to RE, then availability of power in non-RE hours is major challenge, and it is rightly taken up by Mahajanko through PSP plants with JVN and battery storage. And I will like to add that we are also doing, MEDA is doing solar wind hybrid project at MEDA own land with Mahajanko.
Great. So many of the Mahajanko activities are really Maha, as one panelist put it so nicely. Indu Maheshwari, from your perspective, from a training, creating a knowledge repository perspective, what's the future?
The future is good, but as NPTI, we are sometimes struggling to be self-sustaining on just training, because there is a very wide diversity of topics which is coming up, the industry is asking for, and then creating the right talent and the right network. So we are trying to get in touch with a lot of other industry experts to give the right inputs. But one thing we have done is that we have introduced a lot of academic programs, like the 1-year postgraduate diploma course in renewable energy and grid technologies, to kind of increase that talent pool where you can directly recruit them.
Okay.
And then we have a 1-year Smart Grid Technologies program. So engineering graduates are inducted and we give them 1-year academic training along with on-the-job training. And then you can directly recruit. Apart from the postgraduate diploma in power plant engineering, which we have been giving for the last more than 2 decades. So that will help create a knowledge pool also. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you. Dr. Dhananjay Sawalkar, the future prediction on the traditional power side.
Yeah, as our CMD sir has also mentioned that we are not going to soon replace the thermal power plant.
True.
So, as far as the coal is concerned, we will require the coal continuously in future also. One thing which I wanted to mention over here, that bringing the good quality coal and that to be the required quantity is an always the challenge for us, because we work under the various forces, just like the regulatory regime of MERC. We have to see that there should be the minimize of the disallowance as far as the coal is concerned. Similarly, we have to work under the monopolistic market, because we purchase 90% of the coal from our Coal India Limited. And also at the logistic front, we are getting a lot of hurdles, because 90%, more than 90% coal we bring from the Indian Railways. So, but still, I feel that we will continue our supply for the thermal power plants. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Abhay Harne.
The main challenge, I will not take more time. Everyone is hungry. And
No, we have one session and we are
Yeah,
delayed.
yeah. The main challenge, I think, the new technology, what we are facing right now, this is project execution in solar in a speedy manner. Second one, this green hydrogen, green ammonia is the new technology. Battery energy storage system, we don't have more than 10 megawatt of installation at a single place. We didn't saw anywhere. So we are talking about installing in multiple of hundreds right now. The main challenge will be the trained manpower required to execute this project and to be getting continue with this. As an organization, from last 40 years, I had so many experts in thermal. As I think Katiyar sir will also agree, so many experts in thermal. But the experts in this system, which is to be coming and which is to be preserved for a long time. So proper training of the manpower and a proper execution of all the projects within the stipulated time, that will be the main challenge.
Okay. Mohit Gupta.
Sir, the major challenge in the RE power, what I feel, is the requisite infrastructure. At present, we are tying up the projects. Everybody is rushing to the solar-rich states like Rajasthan and Gujarat. But the power evacuation facility, which is basically required, is not available there. It is taking time.
Okay.
The projects which were supposed to come in 2025 are delayed by 2 or 3 years. That's the major challenge, I feel.
Okay, great. Mohit Alamchandani, you have the last word.
Yeah. So to add on challenges, I would say from the thermal power perspective, the owners of the power plants have to take a step forward in terms of meeting the deadlines given by CEA to implement the flexibility by performing the studies and the solutions required to achieve the requirements. So this is one challenge which we as an industry are facing, that the committed timelines are actually getting delayed. Next is in terms of adapting to the new technologies or innovations which industries are bringing into the fleet. Like say, over the decarbonization, if we are talking about introduction of biomass firing or co-firing of ammonia and methanol with coal. So all these things, on all these technologies, industries are basically investing into. I think the acceptance has to come because coal is going to sustain. So the owners should also come forward and work with us to implement such solutions.
Great. Thanks. So with that, we come to a conclusion of this. Yeah, just very brief, sir.
One more thing I forgot to mention. You see, all the Gencos should collaborate, especially Maharashtra should collaborate with Assam. The very reason, very small reason, you see, when you wake up here at 5 o'clock, it is still at dark. At 5 o'clock, my station in Assam start generating. At 5 in the evening, ours is stop. Whereas you can do up to 7 o'clock. Okay. So a non-power, what you call non-RE power situation, whatever we are talking, that can be easily extended by some kind of collaboration. So this is one aspect, which generally we ignore because of our we are very time zone.
The
We should take
time
the
zone.
advantage of the time zone.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
an innovative suggestion. In fact, the time zones, whereas we are talking so many times of institutionalizing multiple time zones in India because this is huge. And rightly mentioned, Assam or even Calcutta, she can also, that and the Western timings are actually different. Okay, so we heard, yeah, very brief.
Yeah. On a brief note, I just want to add the contributions which we have just brought on thermal power plants in terms of carbon reduction or decarbonization is every year on the upgrades which we basically have implemented into the country, we are able to bring approximately carbon footprint reduction of 500 kilotons per year, year over year. So, and we basically had seen a good approach towards implementation of DNOx solutions, which basically has contributed to reduction of 110 kilotons of NOx year over year. So I would say such things are coming up, and through flexibilization, they can basically take a real change.
Yes, definitely. When we are talking about the sustainability roadmap, that's an important aspect of it. Great. I will just request Gopi Krishna Arora,
Sir,
Director.
just a second. I just also wanted to mention that biomass co-firing, 5 to 7% is also happening in a big way under the Samarth Mission, Government of India.
Okay, great. Thanks. Gopi Krishna Arora, if you can hand over a token of appreciation to all our panelists. We are starting with Bibhu Bhuyan. Sanjiv Kumar Katiyar. Pankaj Tagalpallewar. Indu Maheshwari. Dr. Dhananjay Sawalkar. Abhay Harne. Mohit Gupta. Mohit Alamchandani. I would request if all the panelists